Assalamualaikum and greetings to the lecturers. My name is SYAMIMI Izzati and my supervisor's name is Dr. Goh Chin Fei. So the topic for my final year project is about the technology acceptance of GO Plus investment in Touch and Go eWallet in Malaysia. Alright, so this is the presentation outline for my study, which I will present about introductions, followed by literature review, methodology, findings, and conclusion. So now, I will present about introduction for this study. As we know, technology acceptance model has been widely used by the researchers and practitioners in predicting the user acceptance of technology. Past study from Turner, Kitchenham, Barrington Charters, and Patchen in 2010 stated that Tam explained the technology acceptance and the use of technology by the user's internal belief, attitudes, and intentions that can predict the future of the technology by applying the model once the technology is introduced. The past study from Tavitus in 2018 also highlighted that there are some variables need to be added into the TAM to make the predictions of the user system more reliable. So now I will tell more introduction about the GO Plus investments in Touch and Go eWallet. So actually, GO Plus investment is a new feature that launched on March 29, 2021 in the Touch and Go eWallet application. So TNG decided to launch a new investments feature called as GO Plus Investments, which is a low risk investments managed by Principal Asset Management Berhad, or called as Principal Measure. There are some benefits that the users can get when they use GO Plus investments. First, they can earn early daily returns on GO Plus investments. Plus, they can start the low initial minimum investment for about 10 ringgit to join the GO Plus investments. Also, the users can cash out the amount of investment anytime without any cash out of fee. They also can use the investment money and they can put into their eWallet when they don't have enough balance to purchase anything when they're using Touch and Go eWallet. Next is problem statements. First, there is a lack of addressing perceived value in the investment context in different marketing and users research. Financial returns from the investment affecting the consumer's investments behavior, which was stated by the studies from Pustinens, Mars, and Kajualwoto in 2013. The second problem statement is GO Plus investment is still a new feature developed by TNGO eWallet and is still not like less a year of their launch. So these efforts may not giving a great results to the developer if the user not considering to adopt the innovations, which also stated by the Trivedi in 2016. Next, the last but not least, trust issue also influenced the intentions to adopt technology. As we can see that from the past studies, stated that implementation of the mobile payment system among the Malaysians customer is limited due to the trust issue such as fraud, which is from the study of Samsudin, Azwan, Nayan, Isa, and Kadir in 2020. This is the research objective for this study. The first research objective is to investigate the positive effect of perceived investment value on attitudes toward GO Plus investments in Touch and Go eWallet. The next research objective is to investigate the positive effect or perceived ease of use on users' attitude towards GO Plus investments. The next research objective is to investigate the positive effect of perceived trust on users' attitude towards GO Plus investments, followed by to investigate the positive effect of perceived usefulness on users' attitude. And the last research objective is to investigate the positive effect of attitude toward GO Plus investment on users' intention to adopt GO Plus investment in Touch and Go eWallet. I will present about the literature review about technology acceptance model. So it is proposed by Davis in 1989, which is an instrument to predict the new technology that being adopted within a group or an organization. The behavior of a user toward adoption of technology can be predicted by the user's intention, which in turn influenced by user's attitude. This TAM model also as an extension of the original of theory of reason action. This is a few of previous study that had been used TAM model for the research and also proven by their findings. So first, I will tell about the previous study from Xing et al. In 2007, which explored the adoptions of internet banking by retail customer and also focus on the influence of perceived usefulness, perceived ease of use, and additional of perceived risk and personal innovatives in information technology. They get about 115 responses, and the findings for the study is perceived usefulness has the strongest correlations, followed by perceived ease of use and perceived risk. The second previous study is Minchi in 2009, which explore and integrate the various advantages of online banking to form a positive factor, which also integrated with the TAM model and with the TPB model. And the sample for the study, they get about 446 responses, and the finding is the level of perceived ease of use had a significant effects on intentions to use online banking. Same goes to the CHO in 2016 studies, which is focused on investigating factors that affect customer online purchasing behavior. They're also adopting the TAM model into their research. They get about 260 responses, and the finding is they estimate that perceived usefulness and perceived ease of use had a statistically significant positive effect on behavioral intention to shop online. This also a previous study that related with the research model in this study. First is Brown et al. In 2013, which the research objective is to determine the factors influencing the investor's intention to adopt internet stock trading platform using the decomposed TAM integrated model. They get about 385 active investors in Tehran stock market that participate in the questionnaire, and their finding is there are a significant relation between perceived usefulness, perceived ease of use, trust, and investors' intentions. The attitude was found to be a partial mediator for the effect of perceived usefulness on investors' intention to adopt online stock trading. The other one is a study from Postini et al. In 2013 too, which developed a complementary and more comprehensive measurement to assess the nature of investment value affecting consumers' investment behavior. So the final sample size, they get about 438 respondents, and the finding is the reliability measures, factor structures, and validity tests indicate that all of the PIV scale, which is perceived investment value, and the 6 dimensions have sound and stable psychometric properties. This is the research framework from this study that have been adopted by a Brown et al. Study in 2013 in investors' adoptions, which from the previous study, they added 2 new constructs into the TAM model, which are perceived trust and economic value. However, in this study, I replaced the economic value with the perceived investment value to make it more relevant with the topic of the study. For methodology, I used the online survey and also the convenience sampling for the research designs. And I also focus on the online users of Touch and Go eWallet in Malaysia. And I managed to get about 250 respondents participate in my questionnaire. And also for the instrument of methodology, I use a set of questionnaire via Google Form, which is distributed in online platforms such as Facebook, where I join the eWallet users group and distribute it to the general of the people who are the eWallet users, and also the LinkedIn, Telegram, and WhatsApp. And for the data analysis, I will explain the demographic of respondents, which I focus on the frequency distributions, and I also explain about the assessments of measurement and structural model, which I'm using the SmartPLS version of 3.0 for the assessment. For occupation, it can be seen that mostly my respondents are employee of a company, followed by the students, and then from the monthly income, the majority of my respondents had a monthly income for the range of from 1,201 ringgit to 3,000 ringgit. Majority of the respondents experience about 6 months to 1 year of using the Touch and Go eWallet, while for the frequency of the using Touch and Go eWallet per month, it can be seen that majority of my respondents using about 1 to 5 times in a month. Now I will talk about the data analysis first, which is assessments of measurement model. I'm using the SmartPLS 3.0. So actually there are 4 criteria for measurement models, which are indicator reliability, internal consistency, convention validity, and discriminant validity. Firstly, it is about indicator reliability, which is used to show if indicator variance is explained by its indicator constructs, is examined through autoloadings. So autoloadings should greater than 0.70 to achieve the reliability. For the table, it can be seen that ATD3 and FPIV3 are less than 0.70, but it is still acceptable because it's autoloading near to 0.70. However, there are 2 measurement items were removed, which are PI5 and PIV4, because the value of the autoloading is lower than 0.70. Next is internal consistency, which is used to show if indicator variance is explained by its indicator constructs. So I need to examine whether a set of indicators are reliable in reflective constructs. So it can be measured using convex alpha and composite reliability. So the values need to be greater than 0.70 to achieve its internal consistency. So from the table here that I bolded, you can be see that all the values are greater than 0.70, so I can conclude that it achieved the internal consistency. Now I will explain about convergent validity. It is an ability to predict how an indicator correlates with other indicators within the same reflected constructs, which is examined through average variance extracted, or called as AVE. So the value of AVE should be greater than 0.50 in order to achieve the convergent validity. So it can be seen from the table, all the values are greater than 0.50. So I can conclude that it achieved the convergent validity. This is about the discriminant validity. Discriminant validity will be achieved when variance of its own measures are larger than variance of other constructed measures. It can be seen from the table. All of the square roots of the AVEs are greater than all interconstruct correlations. So this is the Fornell-Lacke criterion. For the next, I'll explain for the cross-loading table. This is the table that shows the loading and cross-loading table. This is like the second measurement for discriminability after the Fornell and Lacke criterions. So for cross loadings, the discriminability is achieved when the indicator loading of the construct greater than its cross loading. So it can be seen that from the table, the result of the loading and cross loading for reflective constructs values are greater than its cross loading. So I can conclude that discriminability is achieved. So now I will move to the data analysis for the assessments of structural model using the Smart PLS 3.0, which I use this to examine the predictive relevance and power, and also the statistical significance of structural parts. So I will share about predictive relevance and predictive power. So first, predictive relevance is examined to determine the model validity, which is examined through Q squared, and the Q squared value must be greater than 0. As we can see from the table, the Q squared, all the values are greater than 0. Okay, so for the next one is the predictive power. It's examined to show how well the endogenous being explained by the independent variables, which is examined through R squared. And also, it can be seen from the table, both attitude toward usage and behavioral intentions are influenced by 68% by independent variables, while 32% is explained by other causes. This is the statistical significance of structural parts. It can be obtained after I've done bootstrapping in PSL-SAM. It can be seen that here it used to demonstrate the statistical significance of part coefficients using T statistics. So the part coefficient with value of T statistic over 1.64, 1.96 and 2.56 are considered to be at significant level at 10%, 5% and 1% respectively. All the relationships are significant at 5% except perceived trust. So for the research hypothesis 1, 2, 4 and 5 are supported, while research hypothesis 3 is not supported because it's not significant at any values. So for the first research objective 1 is to investigate the positive effect of perceived investment value on attitude towards GO+ investment, with the research hypothesis which the first one is the user's economic, followed by functional and emotional perceived investment value positively influence attitude towards GO+ investments. So the research objective is supported because actually from the previous study, as what I mentioned earlier, Brown et al. Used economic value variable for the study for adapting finance in the composing technology acceptance model for investor. However, interrogated perceived investment value variable from the study of Pustinen et al. In 2013 to relate with the study. So it's also consistent with Pustinen et al. And supported by the past study from Pelinen et al. In 2015, which are agree that perceived investment value such as economic, functional and emotional values are influence the investment behavior of customer. So I can conclude that perceived investment value has the positive causal effects on user attitude towards GO+ investment in Touch Inku eWallet. The next discussion is about the research objectives 2. which to investigate the positive effect or perceived ease of use on users' attitude toward GO Plus investments. The research hypothesis, perceived ease of use of the GO Plus investment positively affects attitude toward GO Plus investments, and the research objective is supported. It is consistent with the previous study from Abrar et al. In 2013, also with Cheng et al. In 2006, which stating that perceived ease of use has strong significant relationship on investors' attitude toward using the online stock trading platform. So I can conclude that perceived ease of use has a positive causal effect on user attitude toward GO Plus investment. So this is the discussion for research objective 3, which is to investigate the positive effect of perceived trust on users' attitude toward GO Plus investments in Touch and Go eWallet. With the research hypothesis, perceived trust positively affects on users' attitude to adopt GO Plus investment in TNG eWallet. So the research objective is not supported and is not consistent with the previous study from Abrar et al. In 2013 and also Cheng in 2006, because they get significant relationship, perceived trust, that has positive causal effect with relationship on investors' attitude toward using the online stock trading platform. Also get supported by previous study from Kao in 2009. We also highlight that perceived trust has significant relationship on impact of customer intention to adopt m-commerce. However, I also found that my finding is consistent with Lee and Tupen in 2001 study, which highlighted that lack of trust affected the attitude on the users to use the application because the users afraid that their identity will be stolen. The next discussion is for the research objective 4, which is to investigate the positive effect of perceived usefulness positively on users' attitude towards GO Plus investment in Touch and Go eWallet. So, for the research hypothesis, perceived usefulness of the GO Plus investments in Touch and Go eWallet positively affect on users' attitude and intention towards GO Plus investments. So, the research objective is supported. It's consistent with the previous study from Abrar et al. In 2013, with David Gaffin in 2003, Gaffin, Karahana and Sharp 2003 which highlight that perceived usefulness has positive causal effect on their attitude toward online stock trading. Perceived usefulness through attitudes was also shown to influence investors' intention to adopt online stock trading. Previous study also explained that perceived usefulness has a direct significant effect on attitude and an indirect effect on intentions. So GO Plus investment has positive causal effect or perceived usefulness on user attitude and intention towards GO Plus investment in Touch and Go eWallet in Malaysia. So this is the last discussion for the last research objective, which is to investigate the positive effect of attitude towards GO Plus investment on users' intention to adopt GO Plus investment in Touch and Go eWallet. So the research objective is supported and it is consistent with the previous study of Abrar et al. In 2013, Chow et al. In 2001, and Ramaya et al. In 2009. Abrar et al. Also highlighted that there is a direct effect observed on investor attitudes toward their intention to adopt online stock trading. So I can conclude that attitude towards GO Plus investment has a positive causal effect on users' intention to adopt GO Plus investment in Touch and Go eWallet in Malaysia. There are a few of implications of this study. I think this research can give an overview about technology acceptance of GO Plus investment features in Touch and Go eWallet, and I also give conceptual definitions for the original constructs and also the new construct that being added into TAM. It can be seen also that attitude toward usage become mediating variable that help to explain constructs affected the intention to adopt the technology. From this research also, I think can help eWallet users to understand the acceptance of GO Plus investments among the GO Plus users in Malaysia. Lastly, I think this research also give an overview about the improvement that Touch and Go can develop to attract more users to use the feature more in the future. So obviously that this research also have limitations because the data might be biased because of the convenience sampling. So it also been done in cross-sectional data, which is carried out at a single point in time. And this study also only focus on attitude and behavioral intention toward adoption. For the recommendations, I think it will be better for the future researcher get the sample number of the users who have GO Plus account for the investment in the eWallet, and it will be better if the questionnaire distributed to the users of GO Plus investment through email or maybe distributed in the application itself, so the data collected will be more accurate. And I think it will be better if this research also involve longitudinal data after determining the potential users for this research, so it can track the trends and changes with the same respondents when they're using the GO Plus investments for over time and time. And also the past study from the Abroad et al. Also suggested that environmental and infrastructural questions may be integrated into the decomposed star model. That's only for my final year project presentation, and I would say thank you for watching this video.